Hey everyone, Thornton here, and today we're going to break away from our normal news cycle and we're actually going to talk about a bunch of games that we want to see sequels for in 2024, or at least that I do, and I think some of you guys will actually agree with me with this list. And some of them are actually, in the process of getting new content, but without further ado, let's start this list off. Let's start off with number 5 on our list, which was a groundbreaking first-person shooter back in the early 2000s. It really changed the way we played the game, and that was Half-Life 2, developed by Valve. And honestly, you could make a point that this game deserves to be number 1 on the list. The only problem with putting it there for me is that people have been waiting for a sequel for this for over 15 years, and it just has never actually happened. And we've had returns to the Half-Life universe with the recent VR installment Half-Life Alyx, which does take place in that world, but we've never had a direct continuation of Gordon Freeman's story. And every year it seems like we get more and more news. Something comes out of the woodworks and we are getting a released version of Half-Life 3. And then Valve shuts it down, just like this year where they said, it's coming, and then Valve says, nah, we're working on a Steam Deck, sorry. This story is always going to be on people's list of games that need a sequel, but due to Valve just taking so much time off in between a direct sequel, who knows if we will actually ever see it, but fingers crossed. Coming in at number 4 on my list is going to be a game made by BioWare, and no, it's not Mass Effect, no, it's not KOTOR, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. It's gotta be Jade Empire, which is a game that is absolutely amazing, and that most of you have probably never heard of. When you hear the words video games and old school BioWare, you know that that video game is going to be an instant classic, and Jade Empire is no different. With great characters, an amazing story, and so many fun abilities. I played through this game, making so many different choices, exploring this amazing world, because that's what BioWare does best. They create these amazing universes to play around in. And the story, like I said, was absolutely phenomenal, and people loved it. Sadly, we never saw a return to this world, as BioWare went on to move to new projects like Mass Effect and then got bought out by EA, and EA just doesn't really like making fun games, so it was pretty obvious that we were never going to see Jade Empire 2. But with KOTOR getting a remake by Aspyr Media, I would love to see a fresh coat of paint on this game and possibly the chance to re-explore a sequel and continuation of this game, even though it's been so many years. I don't know, man, it always hurts when you find a game that's absolutely amazing and ticks every single box, but because no one's ever played it, it doesn't get a sequel. I try telling all my friends, play this game, you're gonna love it, and everyone's like, no, I don't think I will. Coming in at number 3 on our list is going to be another old school game, but this one is going to be made by another stellar studio, at least it used to be, and that is Rockstar with Bully. Now, Bully takes that GTA Red Dead Redemption mold and puts it in a new setting with a ton of fun mechanics. Instead of driving around fast cars in the city of Los Santos or riding around in horseback through Blackwater attempting to get every single legendary animal skin, you are thrown into school. And honestly, that might be just one of the most terrifying environments Rockstar's ever developed. It has just as much energy as those bigger worlds. Everything feels just as alive, and it truly was a great story, really fun to play, and it was just a nice way to play a Rockstar game without the gritty realism that we see in these other titles. I would love to see Rockstar return to this series and give us a fresh take on this world with the updated hardware they are now capable of using. It would be an absolutely phenomenal game and a breath of fresh air from what we've been getting from them recently. Just please don't do a remaster like you did with the GTA Definitive Edition. Just give us a new entry into this world, please. Coming in at number 2 on our list is going to be Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, which is another old school BioWare game, and this one was interesting to be put on our list because there is actually a remake, not a remaster, being done by Aspyr Media. Now, the remake is actually going to be dealing with the events of the original Knights of the Old Republic, and there is a second game which is just as good in my opinion, and that game was actually made by Obsidian, the same makers of Fallout New Vegas. Now, unfortunately, for whatever reason, they decided that they could not go ahead and continue with KOTOR 3, and I really think it's because EA bought it out and decided to turn this franchise into an MMORPG, and that game is known as Star Wars The Old Republic, and it does have a ton of fun gameplay mechanics, fun world, and they definitely did try to take some of what BioWare had established, and they did continue the story of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, but in my personal opinion, it failed here. It doesn't really work for me. There's so much going on, and really they failed the character of Revan, which is a huge no-no. With Aspyr Media actually doing a remake of Knights of the Old Republic, if it is well received and actually a solid game, I could see them remaking the second one as well, which would be great because there was a lot of cut content there, and then hopefully, if that does well as well, we could finally see a KOTOR 3, and that would make me so happy. And coming in at number 1 on our list, and this one hurts a ton, and that is the Titanfall series developed by Respawn. And the first Titanfall, you know, there are mixed reviews on it. It is a great multiplayer game, but there was no story. But Titanfall 2 took that to the next level and added arguably one of the best first-person shooter campaigns of all time, definitely one of the best in the last 10 years for sure. Now, obviously, it has some amazing gameplay mechanics like the phasing through time. The gunplay is incredibly smooth and crisp. Playing around in Titans is fun, and the story is actually fantastic here. They do a great job at Respawn of building the world of the Titanfall universe. But with all good things, EA must eventually buy them and then burn them into the ground, and that's exactly what happened with Titanfall, where they bought it and then released it between 2 other tentpole franchises, really crippling the game and effectively killing any chance for a future game. Well, sort of, I guess, because Respawn Studios eventually did decide to dip their toes back into that Titanfall world, and that was with a game called Apex Legends. You might have heard of it. It's a battle royale that has absolutely stormed the charts and is really fun to play. It's an absolutely A+ game, you know, at least when they're not doing that whole EA microtransaction thing. And it was great to finally get a game set back in the Titanfall universe, but what fans want, and myself included, is a continuation of Cooper and BT's story from Titanfall 2. The game ended on such a cliffhanger, and we actually never got any resolution to it. And although there has been some throwbacks in Apex Legends to some of the characters in the story, such as Ash being added in the most recent season, we actually haven't seen anything about Cooper specifically, and I would really love to visit that and find out once and for all the fate of BT. Yes, I know his memory core is still alive and all that. I get it. Stop leaving it in the comments. But sadly, I don't think we'll ever truly get a real Titanfall 3, and the reason is that everyone at Respawn that actually worked on the Titanfall series games and made them fantastic has now left the studio. In fact, the original founder has completely left the studio, and the other one went on to go join DICE and work on Battlefield. So even if we do get a Titanfall 3, it won't actually truly be the Titanfall game we deserve, which is just kind of sad. Let me know down in the comments below, are there any games here that you really want to see a sequel for? Or maybe there's one that wasn't on the list that you are waiting for that seems like it just may never come. And until next time, everyone, have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video.